Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadabhaktaya Namo Namah Yang Pravrajantam Manupetam Apekrityam Dvaipayano Virahaka Taruha Juhava Putri Tanmayataya Taravoganedos Tam Sarvabhuta Hridayam Munimanatosmi Bhaktya Vinina Aparada Lakshay Chiptasya Kamadi Tarangamadhi Kripamayitam Sharanam Prapadyam Prende Namaste Charanarvindam. Am I clear?
Yes,
Is my voice clear?
Good.
Tavaivasmi, Tavaivasmi, Na Jivami Tambina, Iti Vigyaya Radhe, Tam Nayamam Charanantike. First, I offer my unlimited obeisances in the dust of the lotus feet of my most worshipful Diksha Gurudev, Nichalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad, Astotra Sat Shishimad, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and the same unlimited obeisances in the dust of the lotus feet of my most worshipful Shiksha Gurudev, Nichalila Pravishta Om Vishnupad, Astotra Sat Shishimad, Srila Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Goswami Maharaj, to our Param Gurudev Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshava Goswami Maharaj, and Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, to all of his divine associates, and to all the assembled devotees. Okay, so we're going to be discussing two topics today, subtopics, in relation to the Swarup of the Jiva. There's been so much discussion on the presence, the influence, the fact that our Swarup is made of Swarup Shakti, infused with Swarup Shakti. But we've never discussed at length what is Swarup Shakti. Would any of you be able to explain what is Swarup Shakti? I'm sure you are able, but
No.
just for my own purification. This whole chapter 12, in the Swarup of the Jiva, is about Swarup Shakti. There are mentions everywhere in this book, like in chapter 1, it says that when the essence of Hladini and Samvit arise in the heart of the Jiva by association with a bona fide Guru and Vaishnavas, then the Jiva's constitutional form, whatever it may be, gradually begins to manifest. Then, like in the 10th chapter, it says, this Rati, also known as Bhav, is the initial sprout of unalloyed love for Krishna. It is a combination of the Sambit and Hladini potencies of the Lord's internal potency, and is eternally situated in the hearts of the Lord's eternal associates. It's quite a mouthful there. So what is the internal potency? What is Hladini? What is Sambit? What is Sandini? So we're going to take it from the beginning. And pretty much we'll be quoting from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Lila chapter 4, and Jiva Dharma, with some from elsewhere. So Krishnadas Kaviraj has written in the following verses. And here are Prabhupada's translations. This is Adi Lila 2, 102 and 103. The Chit Shakti, which is also known as Swarup Shakti or Antaranga Shakti, displays many varied manifestations. Chit Shakti, Chit, it means the conscious, spiritual, transcendental energy. Swarup Shakti means, but it's all the same. Krishna's intrinsic potency, and Antaranga Shakti means his internal potency, Antar. It sustains the kingdom of God and its paraphernalia. That's what everything is made of. The external energy, called Maya Shakti, is the cause of innumerable universes with varied material potencies. The marginal potency, which lies between the two, consists of the numberless living beings. These are the three principal energies, which have unlimited categories and subdivisions. That is Srila Prabhupada's translation. Then a quote from Jiva Dharma. In chapter 14, which is, I believe, the chapter of Shaktis, Babaji states, as Sri Krishna is a complete Shaktiman Tattva, means he's the powerful, the fundamental principle of being the powerful. Srimati Radhika is his complete Shakti. She can be called the complete Swarup Shakti. So that they can enact and relish their Leela, she and Krishna are eternally separate. They're really one, like one stem and two flowers, one wick and two flames. But that the two-ness isn't even seen all the time, because like I have energy, right? Oh yes, and I can run around, and that's inside me. But if my energy comes out and it's also a person, which it isn't, then that would be the two, which is really one. So they separate and become two, just as musk and its scent are mutually inseparable, and fire and heat cannot be separate from each other. That Swarup Shakti, Srimati Radhika, has three kinds of potency of activity. They're known as Chit Shakti, but this Chit Shakti is the division of Swarup Shakti. Jiva Shakti and Maya Shakti. The Chit Shakti is also called the internal or Antaranga Shakti. Maya Shakti is called the external energy, called Bahiranga. You know, Bahir, like in the song to Lord Nrsingadev, it's, what is it? Bahir Nrsingo Hridaye Nrsingo. Nrsinga is outside and he's in the heart. So Bahiranga means the external potency, Maya. And the Jiva Shakti is called marginal, or as you know, Tatastha. Although the Swarup Shakti is one, she acts in three different ways. All the eternal characteristics of Swarup Shakti are completely present in the Chit Shakti, that is the spiritual world, present to a minute degree in the Jiva Shakti, and present in a distorted way in the Maya Shakti. So here we have a question, because there are some persons who say, well, the Swarup, the relationship with Krishna couldn't be there already from his creation. Rather, it comes by association. And they say the proof is that Swarup Shakti, spiritual energy, cannot be covered by Maya, and we have been covered. We are covered. I am totally covered. So what does it mean in the Jiva Dharma when it says that the Chit Shakti is present to a minute degree in the Jiva Shakti? So let's see the footnote on that. So here, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur doesn't mean to say that there's a tiny amount of pure Swarup Shakti in the Jiva. This is because the Swarup Shakti cannot be adulterated, covered, or controlled by another lesser energy. It simply refers to the fact that Swarup Shakti influences the other Shaktis, which are totally dependent upon Swarup Shakti, have no existence without this Shakti. So the influence of the three aspects of Swarup Shakti, Hladini, Sandini, and Sambit, is fully seen. So it says the influence of it is fully seen in the spiritual potency, minutely seen, the influence, in the marginal potency, and pervertedly reflected in the external potency. So then there's this is just informative, it's not part of the argument. The argument means the tarka, the logic, and scriptural evidence proving that our Swarup, our intrinsic form, name, dress, activities, is not inherent in the conditioned jiva. It's inherent in our constitutional position. Constitutional position does not mean that it's something that's in the future that doesn't exist yet, and therefore, according to your association over millions of births or one birth or whatever, that's what you get. Rather, the constitutional form is eternally there. That's what it means when the scriptures say, Jiver Swarupahoy Krishnera Nityadas, we're eternally Krishna's servant. If the Lord is, this is an interesting statement by Srila Bhaktivedanta Bharati Goswami Maharaj. If the Lord is eternal and the servant is eternal, naturally the service itself must be eternal, isn't it? So our constitutional form is eternal. It just hasn't been realized. Now that sounds contradictory. If it's already there in full, why haven't we realized it? There's another chapter in this book called The Two Time Factors, the Nitya Vartaman Kal, or the eternal present, and material linear time, which something is there now and something will be there later and something was there before. At any time you can interrupt because there's not that many of us that I can't take the time to answer but what about, well, how about, and all that. But I hope everything will be answered by the end. It actually will be answered, but because we're conditioned and are hearing with our imperfect senses, we can only, quote unquote, get it in a way that's not really it. The time that we'll get it as it is when we get there. Like even our Srila Prabhupada gave the analogy of the word realization. He said before he came to America, he was reading about how it snows in America. And so he would tell people, it snows in America. But then when he came to America, and then it was wintertime, because I think he came in September, and then the wintertime came, and he was knee deep in snow. Then he said, yes, now I've realized that it snows in America. So when you're experiencing it, then you know it. Okay, just like a rasgulla. I can explain a rasagula, but you won't get it until I hand you one and you taste it. Okay. So we're reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita now, Adi Lila 4, 61, 62. Chapter 4 is the main place in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, which talks about Swarup Shakti and the three divisions. Okay, so these are the divine aspects of Swarup Shakti. I'm just going to read the translation, but I will read a couple of the lines. Anandang se ladini, sadang se sandini, chirang se sambit, jare jnana, korimani. Lord Krishna's body is eternal, sat, full of knowledge, chit, and full of bliss, ananda. His one spiritual energy manifests three forms. Ladini is his aspect of bliss. That Ladini Shakti has a form, just like we are. We were just, doing the Gita Jayanti. We read all the verses in Sanskrit and English yesterday. And then in the 7th chapter, Krishna explains that there's the material energy is made of 8 elements, earth, water, fire, air, and so on. And then Krishna says, and above this is the, come in.
Sorry, could you ask the Gangamatas to let me in so I can listen to you?
It's not them that needs to, I can let you in.
It says the.
Because this is Vasanti's phone and she is the host. There you go, you're in. That's Radhika Manchanda, who you all know dearly. Okay, right? You're right. Okay, so where are we? I forgot. Prabhupada said if I would ask you what I said 3 minutes ago, you'd have to dredge your memory. Oh yes, so what was I saying? Right, so his energy, the Parashakti is the spiritual energy. Krishna says in the 7th chapter, above this material energy is the Parashakti, or the superior energy, which is all living entities who are struggling with the 6 senses, including the mind, and who sustains the universe. That is, like I have this body and it has a shape, but if I leave the body, then what is it? Dust thou word, dust thou beast, right? And the family doesn't want to look at it anymore. So, Ladini is his aspect of bliss. She has a form. Sandini, of eternal existence. Baladev has a form. And Samvit, of cognizance. Krishna has a form, which is also accepted as knowledge. In his Bhagavad Sandarbha, Srila Jiva Goswami explains the potencies of the Lord as follows. Again, this is quoted from Adi Lila chapter 4. Prabhupada's books are so amazing, aren't they? Every time we look at them, it's like reading a book for the first time. It's like a new book. That's why it's a time bomb, not only for new people, but for everyone. Keeps going off again and again. So, in his thesis, Bhagavad Sandarbha, Jiva Goswami explains the potency of the Lord as follows. The transcendental potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by which he maintains his existence, is called Sandini. The transcendental potency by which he knows himself and causes others to know him is called Samvit. That's Baladev, Krishna. And the transcendental potency by which he possesses transcendental bliss and causes the devotees to have bliss is called Ladini. The total exhibition of these potencies is called Vishuddha Sattva. Everything in the spiritual world is made of Vishuddha Sattva. And this platform of spiritual variegatedness is displayed even in the material world when the Lord appears here. The pastimes and manifestations of the Lord in the material world are therefore not at all material. They belong to the transcendental state. That is, the spiritual world manifests here when Krishna comes. So now there's a quote from the CC, again, Adi 4, number 63, which is very, very interesting. It tells what Radharani does. You'll see what I mean. Ladini sandini sambit twaye kasarva sangstitao Ladhatapa kari misra twaye tu gunavarjite. O Lord, you are the support of everything. The three attributes, Ladini, Sandini, and Sambit, exist in you as one spiritual energy. But the material modes of happiness, misery, and the mixtures of the two do not exist in you, for you have no material qualities. That wasn't the verse I was thinking of, that it shows what Radharani does. Of course, all the verses do. Ultimately, the Bhagavatam is Radha Swarup. But that verse says, it's in the Ramananda Rai Sambad, that Krishna is bliss. He's the embodiment of bliss. He tastes bliss, and he causes others to taste bliss. He gives bliss to others. So what is the cause of all these three things? That he gives bliss, he tastes bliss, and he is bliss. And that is Vladini Shakti, Radha. So regarding the Sandini potency, that's the first listed of the three. This is also CC 4, 64, 65. So they're all in the same area of Adi Lila 4. The essential portion of Sandini is Shuddha Sattva. Krishna's existence rests upon it. Krishna's mother, father, abode, house, bedding, seats, and so on are all transformations of Shuddha Sattva, all in relation to Baladev. Then Prabhupada's purport. Krishna's father, mother, and household affairs are all displayed in the same Vishuddha-sattva existence. A living entity situated in the status of pure goodness can understand the form, qualities, and other features of the Lord. Krishna consciousness begins, like I haven't got zero Krishna consciousness, because, why? Because it begins on the platform of pure goodness. And my goodness, it's material goodness, and it's mixed with passion and ignorance. As Krishna says in the Gita, sometimes it's a constant fight for supremacy of the three modes of nature. Sometimes passion reigns supreme, sometimes goodness, and sometimes ignorance. So, let's see. Although there is a faint realization of Krishna at first, he's actually realized as Vasudeva, the absolute proprietor of omnipotence, or the predominating deity of all potencies. When a living entity is situated in Vishuddha Sattva, transcendental to the three modes of nature, he can perceive. In other words, when do we perceive Shamasundar? Do you know that verse in the Brahma Samhita? Premanjana charito bhakti vilochanena. Do you know that one? When somebody is imbued with prema bhakti, then he has this ointment. When he has the ointment of prema on his eyes, then he can see the form of Shamasundar, inside and outside.
Then he's situated on the platform of Vishuddha Sattva.
Yes, when he is.
Mm.
At that time, you can perceive the form, quality, and other. That means when we're not encumbered by matter anymore.
Does that mean, does that happen here?
It happens here for pure devotees, but we cannot reach the level of prema here from the conditioned state, Gurudev explains, because this material body cannot tolerate prema. And therefore, when prema is about to come, the devotee takes birth in any planet of any universe where Krishna happens to be performing his pastimes at that time, which is always, because there's so many universes, zillions of universes, that there's always some universe when the devotee is ready that they will take birth there from the womb of a gopi and get trained up.
So Srila Prabhupada is referring to like Vasta Siddhi when the Jiva becomes liberated and goes into like the first stage of, I don't know, when they,
Vastu Siddhi?
is that he refers to, because he's saying that the other transcendental to three modes of nature, he can perceive the form, qualities, and other features of the Supreme Personality of Godhead through his service attitude. So he means like when we actually enter the service attitude by attaining the, I guess he means the Vasta Siddhi is when we actually receive, realize that in some way, service attitude.
Gurudev explained that it begins when the devotee takes birth here in Bom Vrindavan, where Krishna is, and then it develops, and then he takes his next birth in Goloka Vrindavan.
Okay.
But he gets his full diksha because di means divya gyan dadati, or receiving transcendental knowledge means realization, and ksha means the washing away of all obstacles to that, coming from sins and offenses. So what?
No, so because that verse Atashi Krishna Namadi, then at the end it says
Which verse?
Atashi Krishna Namadi. Yeah. And then he says Sevonmuke Hijiyado Swayam Eva Spurati. Then at that time they mean not in this material body. The seven
we may have the outside material body, but inside we have Bhava Bhakti, which means Bhava Bhakti has 3 stages. One is called Antar Dasa. Dasha means stage, where we forget, like Raghunath Das Goswami forgets that he's Raghunath Das, and he's living fully absorbed as Rati Manjari in the pastimes inside. You'll just see him sitting there and chanting or having fainted or whatever. But what's happening internally is that he's participating in the pastimes. So then the pastime disappears, and then Raghunath Das Goswami rolls on the ground in separation, weeping. And then he comes to Bahir Dasha, or the stage of external consciousness, where he's still feeling intense separation, but he can function in the world, write and speak.
Okay.
Don't think I know what I'm talking about. It's all syllables.
No, it's kind of new to me, because we were trying to understand this Vishuddha we were reading different things, and it's kind of because I only ever heard like a few things from Gurudev and something I read in his books, but reading a little bit from what Srila Prabhupada says and other things that Gurudev said, it made me made me realize I don't quite understand what Vishuddha is. So yeah,
we will understand as soon as we reach Bob, just around the corner. And then fully, completely understand when we reach Prem.
Okay.
I asked Gurudev about a specific.
I take that as a blessing.
Huh?
I'll take that as a blessing.
What's a blessing? Oh, just right around the corner.
Yeah.
Okay. So I asked him about this verse. By experiencing higher taste, one becomes fixed in consciousness. The Jiva may be he may be not engaged in sense objects, but the taste for sense object remains. But then when one experiences the higher taste, then he's fixed in consciousness. He's not trying to control his senses. So I asked Gurudev when that comes, and he said in Prem. Prem Anjana, on the Anjana, the ointment.
So I'm sorry, it's this last thing. So when they say about Krishna Seva Vasana, would that be the seed of that thing, of that tendency to serve?
Yes, it's the smallest fraction of Prem is the Krishna Seva Vasana, which is given by the Guru at the time of initiation, or when he wants to.
Okay.
That's Shraddha. Externally, it's Shraddha.
Sure, thank you.
Okay, so I don't think I know what I'm saying. Okay, so The living entity is situated in Vishuddha transcendental to the modes of nature. At that time, he can perceive the form, quality, and other features of the Lord through his service attitude. The status of pure goodness is the platform of understanding, for the Supreme Lord is always in spiritual existence. Krishna, in Prabhupada's purport, Krishna is always all spiritual. Aside from the parents, his parents, all the other paraphernalia of his existence are also essentially a manifestation of Sandhini Shakti, or a transformation of Vishuddha Sattva. To make this more clear, it may be said that this Sandhini Shakti of the internal potency maintains and manifests all the variegatedness of the spiritual world. So that includes the land, it includes the houses, it includes Krishna's flute, the jewelry. In the kingdom of God, the Lord's servants and maidservants, consorts, father, mother, and everything else are all transformations of the spiritual existence of Sandhini Shakti. The existential Sandhini Shakti is in the external world. How does it influence the external world? It expands the variegatedness of this material cosmos. So whatever we see here, like bunk beds or anything else, it's ultimately coming from Sandhini Shakti, though pervertedly reflected. So from here we can get a glimpse of the spiritual world. Some idea. Yes, this is a house, that's a house. But it's like it's like the moon on the branch. There's the moon sitting on the branch. So then there's this famous verse 466 of Adi Lila. Sattvam Visuddham Vasudeva Shabditam. The condition of pure goodness, Shuddha Sattva, in which the Supreme Personality of Godhead is revealed without any covering, is called Vasudeva. Because even in Bhav, there's something there, some obstacle, because it comes and goes, the vision. In that pure state, the Supreme Lord, who is beyond material senses and who is known as Vasudeva, is perceived by my mind. I think that's a statement by Lord Shiva. Right, so that was Sandhini. Now Samvit potency. The essence of the Samvit potency is knowledge that the Supreme Lord is Krishna. All other kinds of knowledge, such as Brahman, are its components. The activities of Samvit Shakti, it's a little tedious, but then when you hear all these words, you'll know what it is, at least intellectually. I asked Gurudev once, is there really any use to learn all these terms? I mean, the goal is to love Krishna and have the emotions, so why do we need all these terms? So Gurudev said, for example, if I tell you that Radha and Krishna are both experiencing Kila Kinchita Bhav, what would you know of what I'm saying? Nothing, unless you knew what the term meant. Kila Kinchita Bhav are 7 kinds of apparently contradictory emotions, like flirting and playing hard to get, tears and smiles, push-pull of a girl or a boy in amorous conversation. So still we don't get a real understanding because we're looking at it by our material senses, but at least we have something. Something is better than nothing. Blind uncle is better than no uncle. So therefore it's important to know the terms. So now whenever you hear, I mean, probably you already knew, but for my purification, I'm telling you that, so whenever you hear any of these terms, you'll, oh yes, I know what that is. So the Samvit Shakti produces the effect of cognition, that you know something. Both the Lord and the living entities are cognizant. Krishna Supreme Lord has full knowledge of everything, everywhere, and therefore there's no hindrance in his cognition. Just by looking at something, he can completely know all about it. Whereas innumerable impediments block the cognition of the ordinary living beings. The cognition of the living beings, conditioned souls in this world, has three divisions: direct knowledge, indirect knowledge, and perverted knowledge. Sense perception of material senses, like the eye, ear, nose, hand, always produces perverted knowledge. Like everything we see, you name it, it produces definitely perverted knowledge. In other words, we know nothing through our senses. This illusion is a presentation. Oh, it's really heavy, isn't it? It's like startling. This illusion is a presentation of the material energy, which is influenced by the Sambit Shakti in a perverted manner. Negative cognition of an object beyond the reach of sense perception is the way of indirect knowledge, which is not altogether imperfect, but which produces only fragmentary knowledge in the form of impersonal spiritual realization and monism. But when the Sambit factor of cognition is enlightened by the Ladini potency of bliss, or she's also bhakti, of the same internal energy that's at the time of Bhav, they work together. You heard of Sambit and Ladini, right? When they work together, that is Radha and Krishna show their mercy, and which is predominated by Ladini, because she's the predominating personality in that world. When they work together, and only then can one attain knowledge of the personality of Godhead. Therefore, we always pray for their mercy. Or Kripa Katakshis. What is it? Kripa Katakshis Stavaraj. When will you give me your sidelong glance, which holds in your glance all your pastimes with Krishna? Because you looked at him during your pastimes, and now they're all there in your eyes. The Sambit Shakti should be maintained in that state. Material knowledge and indirect spiritual knowledge, that means impersonal knowledge, are byproducts of the Sambit Shakti. It's not directly Sambit Shakti, obviously, it's a reflection. Right, so that was two. Now let's go on to the third potency, which is Ladini Shakti. And this is also Adi 4. Ladinira Sara Prema Sara Bhav, Bhavera Paramakasta, Nama Mahabhav. The essence of the Ladini potency is love of God, and also the bliss. And the essence of love of God is emotion, Bhav. And the ultimate development of emotion is Mahabhav. So the product of the Ladini Shakti is love of Krishna, which has two divisions, namely pure love of God and adulterated love of God. Only when the Ladini Shakti emanates from Krishna and bestows and is bestowed upon a living being to attract him, does the living being become a pure lover of God. But when the same Ladini Shakti is adulterated, that is, Radharani can't be adulterated, but the influence is pervertedly reflected. So when Ladini Shakti is adulterated, you get the difference? She's not adulterated. She's not covered. But when she manifests only as a perverted reflection by in the external energy, and emanates from us, the living being, it does not attract Krishna. On the contrary, the living being becomes attracted by the glamour of the material energy. At that time, instead of becoming mad with love of Godhead, we become mad after material sense enjoyment. And because of our association with these modes of nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance, like we read about it yesterday in the Gita Jayanti, and I think it's chapter 14 or 13 is the modes of nature. Talks all about what are the qualities of ignorance, sloth, madness, procrastination, insanity, and passion, endless anxieties and attachment to fruitive activities, all that. So, because of his association with the qualitative modes of nature, he's captivated by its interactions of distressful, unhappy feelings. We're captivated by distressful things. Isn't that insane? All right, so then the next verse states, Sri Radha Thakurani is the embodiment of Mahabhav. She's the repository of all good qualities and the crest jewel among all the lovely consorts of Krishna. Why? Because she's the source. Everybody else is in her as pieces of her, full pieces, part pieces, minute pieces, and she's the whole, and she includes everybody else. So when she leaves the rasa dance, it doesn't matter if there's billions of gopis there, he'll just leave and go after her. So Radha Thakurani is the embodiment of Mahabhav. She's the repository of all good qualities and the crest jewel among the lovely consorts of Krishna. So then, the unadulterated action, pure action of Hladini Shakti is displayed in the dealings of the damsels of Braj and Srimati Radhika, who is the topmost participant in the transcendental group. The essence of Hladini Shakti is love for Krishna. That's what she's made of. That's why she's called Premamaya, because she's made of prema, inside, outside. The essence of love of God is bhav, or transcendental sentiment, and the highest pitch of that bhav is Mahabhav. So she's the personified embodiment of all these three aspects. She's therefore the highest principle of love of God and a supreme lovable object of Krishna. She loves Krishna the most and he loves her the most of anybody else. Okay, so then that was the three in a nutshell, you could say. So now, how do these three aspects function together in the spiritual world?
Could I just ask one really simple thing that my mind can't get? Is that these three like ritis or functions of the Swarup Shakti, like at one point it seems that Krishna is the origin of those three, and then at another point Srimati Radhika seemed like the origin, and then at one point it seemed like both of them were the origin for me.
Well, that's why Shakti, Shaktiman, Abheda, they're non-different. And it depends on whose appearance day it is. And that's what Gurudev says is the origin.
Okay. Okay.
Once, I think it was Sri Padmini Maharaj asked Gurudev, so, it seems like Radharani is doing everything, but doesn't like Krishna have his own desires? Because in the Shakti chapter of Jiva Dharma, it just makes her out to be everything. Shakti is everything. And Krishna is totally surrounded by Shakti. But, so the question he made was, doesn't Krishna have independent desire? And Gurudev said that Radharani is his Icha Shakti. He can't even desire without her. But they're one and different. So now is from the Ramananda Rai Sambad about how the Swarup Shakti functions in the spiritual world, the three aspects. The potency that gives Krishna transcendental pleasure is called Hladini. By this pleasure potency, Krishna personally tastes. Oh, this is the verse that I was remembering before. The potency that gives Krishna pleasure is Hladini. So Krishna tastes pleasure, she's the cause. By this pleasure potency, Krishna personally tastes all spiritual pleasure, even though he's the embodiment of pleasure. He can't taste pleasure without her. Neither can he be the embodiment of pleasure, because you've heard Gurudev say so many times that without Radharani, he's the, what is that? The impersonal Brahma Jyoti. Okay. So, but he's never, fortunately, he's never without her. Then this potency also gives happiness to the devotees. So the causes of these three, how Krishna can give happiness to the devotees, how he can be happiness, and how he can taste the happiness, Hladini is the cause of that. So then let's jump back to Jiva Dharma, the Dasmul, number 4. I mean, not Dasmul, Dashmul. There are 3 functions of Swarup Shakti. Krishna remains perpetually immersed in the ecstatic transformations of the bliss potency, isn't it? I mean, that's philosophically stated. Stated in Ras, Krishna is always immersed in Radharani's ecstatic transformations. Like in Radha Kripa Kataksha, when she darts her sidelong glance, then he becomes perpetually under submission. By manifesting the internal and confidential devotional sentiments through the knowledge potency, Sambit, he's always enjoying the mellows of loving exchanges. The internal and confidential devotional sentiments through the knowledge potency, Sambit. So they're really one potency that's divided into 3, but it's still one. Because even if you have bliss, you have to be aware of it, aware of the bliss to be blissful. So that awareness is Sambit Shakti. He's always enjoying the mellows of loving exchanges. And by the existence potency, Sandini Shakti, the pure abode of Vrindavan, just imagine if there was no abode of Vrindavan, then Radha and Krishna would fall through space. And it sounds ridiculous, but so the abode of Vrindavan is manifested through the Sandini potency. But sometimes it's stated that Radharani manifests Vrindavan. So again, it depends on whose appearance state it is. I mean, it's because Govardhan is also the land. So it may be said that it's a manifestation of Baladev, but then we know that it comes out of Radharani's heart. Govardhan. So by the existence potency, Sandini, Baladev is none other than Krishna anyway, right? The pure abode of Vrindavan is manifested where Krishna, who always performs blissful pastimes, eternally sinks by his own volition in the ocean of Braj Ras. He sinks in it. At the same time, how can he, breathe in and out universes, right? He has his department head, Mahavishnu, doing that, but he's sinking. All right. No, I don't know what I'm talking about. So in summary, the influence of the 3 aspects of Swarup Shakti, Hladini, Sandini, and Sambit, is seen throughout the activities of the cognizance potency, that is the Sambit potency. Cognizance potency is the spiritual potency, what everything in the spiritual world is made of. The marginal potency and the external potency. So like in the journey of the soul, you'll see that there's a chart, and going this way, the aspects of Swarup Shakti going this way, you see Satchidananda or Sambit, Hladini, and Sandini. And then going this way, you see the Chit Shakti, Jiva Shakti, and Maya Shakti. It's quite a complex thing. Prabhupada said that if God is not inconceivable, then doesn't have some inconceivable things, what is the meaning of being God?
Mm.
So, let's see. In summary, summary is still Ramananda Rai Sambad. In summary, the influence of the three aspects of Swarup Shakti, Ladini, Sandini, and Sambit, is seen throughout the activities of the cognizant spiritual world, the marginal potency and the external potency. The daughter of Vishwabhanu Maharaj, Radhika, is the personification of the pleasure function of Swarup Shakti, and she always bestows complete transcendental happiness upon Krishna. She's made of Mahabhav, and she always gives varieties of bliss to him. The cognizant Sambit function of Swarup Shakti manifests the different relationships in Braj, like mother, son, friend, and the existence function, Sandini, manifests the land, the bodies, the water, the villages, primary and subsidiary forests. This is all Sandini Shakti. But it's also said, it's also a manifestation of Krishna. It's also said to be a manifestation of Radha. So, moreover, the Sandini Vritti gives rise to the transcendental form of Krishna because he exists in his form. Sri Radha, the Sakis, cows, and every other servant and maidservant of Braj, as well as all of its completely spiritual paraphernalia used in their pastimes, is all manifestations of Sandini Shakti. Krishna forever remains immersed in the spiritual bliss of the loving transformations of the pleasure function, Ladini, while the full variety of bhavs generated by the cognizance function, Sambit, provides him with the tastes of loving mellows, or ras. In other words, again, there can be bliss, but unless you have cognizance of it and a taste for it, then you can't connect. I mean, it sounds like a no-brainer, but it's beyond brains.
Could I
What?
ask a question? For Srimati Radhika to love Krishna and the qualities in him, and
Say that
these
again?
things. You know, these three that Mahaprabhu tasted, the glory of her love and the happiness she feels, and the qualities that she sees in him. Is that cognizance that Srimati Radhika has got, cognition of that? Does she also have cognition, I guess I'm asking?
Of what?
Because
she has more cognition than Krishna.
Yeah, it seems.
She's the embodiment of Krishna's 6 opulences. She is Sarva Lakshmi Mayi. So on one hand, Lakshmi means the goddess of fortune. She's the embodiment of all the goddesses of fortune. But it also means, Lakshmi means opulence. So she's the embodiment of his 6 features: wealth, knowledge, fame, beauty, renunciation, and strength. So without her, another way to say it, Krishna can't be Bhagavan. He can't be the possessor of the 6 opulences. And Gurudev said that's why this term Gaura Hari, that Krishna stole Radharani's golden complexion, it's not really 100% true in the sense of, Gurudev said in Wales, you were probably there, that Radharani's too smart to have Krishna steal something from her. Rather, he begged her to borrow her bob and complexion. Okay, so where are we? All right, so now let's jump to the three aspects of Swarup Shakti. And then this is going to be a two-time class, I guess. I don't know. Yes, because we can't complete it fully today. So the next section is called Swarup Shakti's three aspects that influences the Jiva Shakti and Maya Shakti. So again, a quote from Jiva Dharma, chapter 14, the chapter on Shaktis. Jiva Shakti is the atomic potency of Swarup Shakti. And all three aspects of Swarup Shakti are present to a minute degree. Again, we saw what minute degree means. It means the influence of it is there to a minute degree. Thus, the Ladini Vritti is always present in a jiva in the form of Brahmananda, spiritual bliss. Samvit Vritti is present in the form of Brahmagyan, and Sandini Vritti is present in a jiva's minute form. As we read on the previous page, all the varieties of matter are perverted reflections of the Sandini potency. So again here, the Sandini is present in a jiva's form because all the forms here are perverted reflections of Sandini. I will explain this subject matter more clearly when we discuss Jiva Tattva, and that is the next three chapters, 15 to 17. So in Maya Shakti, the Hladini Vritti is manifest in the form of mundane pleasure, Jagadananda. Samvit Vritti manifests the form of material, is manifested in the form of material knowledge, which is not knowledge. It's varieties of ignorance. And the Sandini Shakti is manifest in the form of the entire material universe, or universes, which consists of the 14 planetary systems and the material bodies of the jivas. So then the next subsection is called the Swarup Shakti and Jiva Shakti, which is in the same category of topic, but this is a quote from Param Gurudev's biography by Gurudev. And he says, in part 5, we have already mentioned that the one Para Shakti or Swarup Shakti is manifested in three forms: Chit Shakti, Jiva Shakti, and Maya Shakti. When Satchidananda Paratattva Sri Krishna, who is complete in 6 opulences, is equipped only with his Jiva Shakti, then his expansion is called Vivanangsa Jiva. That's us, infinitesimal, separated energy, Jiva Shakti. But we're nothing but Krishna's expansion, or Radharani's expansion, any way you look at it. Alternatively, when Satchidananda Bhagavan is invested with all of his potencies, such as Swarup Shakti, then his expansion is called personal expansion or Swamsa. Those are all the Vishnu expansions, Ram, Nrsinga, Varaha, and so on. All the Vishnus, Narayans, they're all called Swamsa. And we're called Vivanangsa, separated infinitesimal. So then how does the Hladini and Samvit manifest in the heart? Let's get some juice there. So this is also from part 7 of Param Gurudev's biography. By the mercy of the all-auspicious Bhagavan and his devotees, when a practitioner of bhakti goes on performing pure bhakti, he gradually crosses the successive stages such as Shraddha, Nistha, Ruchi, and Asakti. At this point, Shuddha Sattva, which is the combined essence of Hladini and Samvit, aspects of the Swarup Shakti automatically manifest in his heart at the time of the latter stages of Ashakti going into Bhav. Then that fortunate sadhak's pure intrinsic spiritual form, name, mood, and other aspects are also revealed in his heart. But in Asakti, it's revealed in a slight way as a reflection. And in Bhav, it's revealed more clearly. And in Prem, it's revealed fully clearly. So when that connection is made between us, the Jiva, and the Swarup Shakti, this is from a lecture of Gurudev in Germany. I'm sure many of you were there in 2007. From where does this Siddha Deha come, our spiritual body? It is in our Swarup, our original spiritual form. Our Siddha Deva does not come from anywhere outside ourselves. In our Swarup, everything is perfect. Again, this is eternal time. It's here, but it's not manifest to us. Like Krishna says in the Gita, I know everything past, present, and future. I know all living beings, but no one knows me. So if Krishna knows the future, he must be able to see the future. And so the future is already there. It's called eternal time. Nitya Vartaman. Vartaman means presence, the eternal present. Otherwise, how can Guru tell us, so you think of yourself as a manjari, if he doesn't see it? To realize this, we simply require a connection with Swarup Shakti. When that connection is made, then the Siddha Deha, spiritual body, automatically manifests, and all spiritual sentiments of love appear in our heart. So then the closing section of this chapter is from a lecture in Alachua in 2000. It's very revealing lecture of February 2003 in Alachua, Florida. So you are hearing about Shuddha Sattva. This is what he's saying in his lecture. But realizing it is so hard. Still, I'm explaining it. Why? If you will have even a little bit of greed, you can advance and realize after so many lives, it may be hundreds of lives or thousands, but that is a very small period. Oh my God. We have been in this material world since the original creation, Anadi, which is zillions and gillions and uncountable years. In comparison to that, 1,000 births will be a very small period. In brief, I'm telling about Shuddha Sattva, which we read about. We are eternal servants of Krishna. We have a transcendental form and all transcendental qualities, though covered by Maya. It doesn't mean that Swarup Shakti is covered by Maya. It means it hasn't descended yet. Meaning that this gross and subtle body, we have it, but it is in a late, we have praying, we have Shuddha Sattva, but it's in a latent state. So our Swarup, our spiritual body, is inherent in our constitutional form, that is the eternally present but not yet manifested constitutional form, and it is latent now as a seed. Shuddha Sattva refers to Sandini, the existence of all souls. Especially Baladev Prabhu is the personification of Sandini. He's the root of all existence. From Baladev, our existence has come. On the platform of Shuddha Sattva or Sandini, Chit and Ananda, meaning Sambit and Vladini, will both come into the heart. Their Atma will come, their life will come. In other words, Radha and Krishna will manifest in our heart. What's the meaning of life? Alayapi. Sambit means knowledge. But there, knowledge is transformed as a relationship with Krishna. It's not just knowledge, it's knowledge with mood. In the stages of prema, sneha, man, pranaya, rag, and so on. Then ananda. This refers to Vladini Shakti, Radhika, and her mood. Sambit and Vladini mix because Ananda is the life and soul of pure bhakti. Both mix and descend in the heart on the platform of Sandini. So here's an analogy which you've heard a lot, but it's appropriate here. Here's an analogy. There's a seed, but if there's no earth, no sunlight, no air, and especially no water, it will dry up. Only by the help of water, air, and sunlight can the seed sprout. Similarly, some potency is present in the Shuddha Sattva Jiva, like a seed. The seed is here, the potency, but it's now covered. So it's the seed that can be covered. And right now, we're influenced by the Swarup Shakti, but our form and everything is not permeated with Swarup Shakti. Therefore, we can be covered. So what water is needed? Can anybody guess? Harikatha. The pure devotees Harikatha. And get this one, this is quite amazing. The pure devotees Harikatha and Ladini and Samvit are the same thing. So when he speaks, Samvit and Ladini are coming out of his mouth.
Wow.
That's why he always wants everybody to be there at his Harikatha. Through Harikatha, Samvit and Ladini will come and manifest in the heart. Ladini and Samvit both descend in the Shuddha Sattva Jiva. In what way? Again, air, sun, water, all these are essential, but they cannot give what we already have in potency, right? The air, water, sunlight doesn't create the seed. It just develops the seed and manifests the full potency of the seed in the form of a tree or bush. So the Harikatha manifests our specific relationship or ras with the same Harikatha, the same place, the same guru, according to the Shuddha Sattva of the Jiva, according to what is like a seed. What is like a seed? It's not a physical seed. What is like a seed in the Jiva? Only that can sprout. See? Mango seed becomes a mango tree. If we are of Dasya Ras, only that will sprout. Take the example of Vijay Kumar and Brajanath. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has explained that they had the same guru, the same Harikatha, everything was the same, but one realized his relationship in Sakya Ras and the other in Madhurya Ras. So rasas cannot be transferred or changed. If you keep the seed of a mango, a thorn tree, a tamarind, a jackfruit, that's why we have the jackfruit here and we have the thorn tree here. Mango on the cover of the book. And neem on the bank of the Ganges, and give them the same Ganges water, the same sun, the same air, the same sunlight, the same gardener. None of them can grow to become like the other. Do you understand? All are different. The tamarind seed will become a tamarind tree, and so on. Mango cannot change into thorns. The water can only give water. So sadhu sangha cannot change one's ras. It can only give water. Someone tells, here, The same thing that's happening now was happening in 2003. So Gurudev said, someone says, where'd it go? Someone says that according to Sadhu Sangha, our ras will come. No. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has written very vividly in many places that it cannot be changed by simply hearing Harikatha. Only what is there can be. So everyone has the potency for a specific ras. Then you may say, well, we're so many here. This was in Alachua in 2003. I don't think you could really see this too clearly, but this is a photo of Gurudev in Alachua in 2003. Okay, so where are we? So then you may ask, so there's so many of us here. It may be that someone is of Narayan with Vaikuntha Seva. Someone may be Sakyaras, Dasyaras, Vatsalya, or Madhurya. But why are we gathered here with one guru, giving one Gopal mantra, and all of these things? Why are all of you in the same ras? It may be. Why? Because Krishna Bhakti is like a touchstone or Chintamani. You have something here in your constitutional form, and that is what attracted you to Chaitanya's line. There are thousands upon thousands of persons here in Alachua, but how many are coming? Only 10 or 20, maybe 50, not more than that. But Alachua's population, Gurudev had more than 50 people in his class, but a lot of people came from other cities and countries. But Alachua's population is about 6,000, and the whole world's population, you cannot even count. Of the approximately 6 billion males and females, humans, in the world, how many are devotees? And among them, how many are Gaudiya Vaishnavas? They are very rare, so don't doubt. Try to follow Mahaprabhu's line, and very soon you will truly be his line. And then there's another, let's see how long it goes. All right, there's like one more page. So then he quoted Shuddha Sattva Visheshatma Prema Suryang Samyabha, the definition of Bhava Bhakti. Bhava Bhakti is a special manifestation of Shuddha Sattva. In other words, the constitutional characteristic of Bhava Bhakti is that it is a phenomenon entirely constituted of Shuddha Sattva. It is like a ray of the sun of Prem, and it softens the heart by various tastes. So at that time, Bhava Bhakti, this Swarup Shakti descends. Shuddha Sattva descends. What is the meaning? Ruchi B means, for example, I want to taste the same bhakti as Mother Yasoda, the same way in which she loves Krishna. This is Ruchi. I want to love and serve Krishna like Sridham, Madhu Mangal, and Subal. That special ras. Ruchi means, that's not the Ruchi that's below Ashakti. It's the taste that comes, various spiritual sentiments that come at the time of Bhava. So, or because it says Ruchi bis Chityamashvina, his heart is melted by various tastes. It's not that same Ruchi, because that other Ruchi is just intellectual. Ruchi means greed to serve Krishna in a certain way, in a certain process. What is that process? For example, I want to serve Krishna in the mood of Lalita. What does that mean? Lalita loves Krishna and Radhika so much. She can control them. She can chastise them. I want to serve like that. Or I want to serve Radha and Krishna as a dasi, a maidservant of Radhika. If Krishna will come to meet Radhika, I will tell him, return from where you have come. Krishna will then fall down at the lotus feet of that Saki and pray, oh, let me go there. Allow me to go there. And she will say, no, no. You are black internally and externally. We cannot allow you. So I want to serve Radha and Krishna like this. This is Ruchi B. By this greed, Chitra Mashrana, the heart becomes very soft and smooth. At that time, Asta Sattvika. So I don't know if Radhika Manchanda is still in this Zoom, but she was asking me the other day, I don't have any taste. I don't have any heart because we're not in Bob. So I said, just wait for Bob to come, then everything's coming. Okay. So by this greed, Chitta Mashrana, the heart becomes very soft and smooth. At that time, Asta Sattvika Vikar, that is the transformations of tears and horripilation and coloring of the complexion, fainting, manifest in a small amount as a ray of the sun of praying. See, it's not complete in Bhav, but it's something. So then it's called Bhav. Who is a sadhak like that in this world? We are not really pure sadhaks. We are like a semblance or an abhas of sadhaks. Bilvamangal was a real sadhak, but not when he was meeting with a very beautiful prostitute. Then he was not. When he was rejected by her, he realized, what nonsense am I doing? He pierced his eyes and called out, "Oh Krishna, oh Krishna, oh Krishna." Krishna then came and took his hand, and very soon he reached Vrindavan. He then began to do pure bhajan, at which time he was called a sadhak. Don't think we are sadhaks. It may take so many births to enter the position of a real sadhak. Oh God, it's terrible. At Bhava Bhakti, real greed will manifest for love and affection like the gopis, sakas, parents, and others. And I just want to read one more paragraph of Gurudev. It's a purport in Ramananda Rai Sambat showing that the Harikata, the pure devotees from the spiritual world ascending. In the same way that sugar syrup permeates every atom of a rasagula, similarly, every pore of the body of the Braj Ras Rasika Guru or Vaishnava is completely saturated with Prema Bhakti Ras. Every pore, wow. At every moment, the Rasika Vaishnava continually distributes the most purifying, sweet discussion of Radha Krishna's pastimes. His mind, intelligence, affection, and character are all completely filled with Krishna's Rasamayi Bhakti, ambrosial devotion. By associating with these Rasik devotees, greed is awakened to serve Krishna with prema. Okay, I'm going to end here, and we'll meet as Prabhupada ends his letters more in the next. So was that totally boring, or was it something new and interesting?
No, that was amazing. I feel like you've just opened up the spiritual world. And I was, I'm still sleeping, but I just feel like you've come into my dreams and
That's so
shook me.
interestingly said. Is there one question? Because we're so late, it's already been an hour and a half.
Oh my Lord.
Your Lord. My sweet Lord.
Yeah, I'm okay. Anyone?
No, they need to do some
Needs to do some digesting, reading.
Yeah, I think so, because it's like it doesn't
It's
come
just
in.
so mind-blowing for me. I don't know. Go on. We're okay. We don't want to take up any more time. I think we need to read a bit more as well.
Read the
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Reading. The books are like a gingerbread man. And then where you bite, it's sweet. Prabhupada said that, and Gurudev said that.
So tasteful.
A gingerbread cake.
So nourishing as well. It just I feel very nourished.
That's so nice. Okay, everybody. I'm honored by your presence. We'll see you soon. Radhi Radhi. And Panchakopaturya Vyasta Kripasindhu Vacha. Patitanam Pavanebhyo. Vaishnav Ebhyo. Namo Namaha.
Jai Syamarani Didi ki jai.
I lost my place, so I don't know how to leave. So if you leave, I'll have left.
Yeah, we can go. Should we go?
Okay, Radhe.
Ready.
Oh, there we are. Okay, fine. Dhanyavad. There we go.